Hello, hello and welcome. Just gonna get everything set up and make sure that you can hear me and see me. So if you could go ahead and pop in the comments where you're here from. Welcome to the Yoga and Social Justice Challenge, Day 1. We'll get started in just a moment. All right, just making sure you can see me and hear me. And if you can pop in the comments where you're here from. Let me know where you are here from. Nice. Okay, I think we're live and it's all working. All right, just making sure you can see me and hear me. And if you can pop in the comments where you're here from. Let me know where you are here from. This is so exciting. I am thrilled to be here with you. My name is, let me turn my volume down there so I can watch comments. Let me make sure. Last little check. Oh, okay, so chat is not working yet. Let me see if I can fix that. All right, because I really do want to hear from you. And learn where you're from. Allow comments and save. So thank you for patiently bearing with me. This is the first time I am ever live streaming from Zoom to you on YouTube, and I'm really excited for it. So I am going to begin in just a moment, and if you can just grab a pen, paper, and then anything that you need to settle in and to get present right here with us. Okay, wonderful. Oh, I'm so excited to be here with you. And it looks like possibly the chat isn't working. I'll work on getting that fixed by tomorrow. But I want to just jump right in with you and begin, because our time here is precious. And I know that we have a lot to cover. So we are here to explore yoga and social justice. And we're here for a leadership challenge, and we're on day 1. So let's go right into it. And I'd love for you to begin by reflecting, what is the connection between yoga and social justice for you? And you can start right there. So I'm just checking once more to make sure that you can see my screen. So my aim for you in this challenge is that you go from, if you've been feeling frustrated, lost, confused, to purposeful and aligned in action with the support of yogic tools, and that you are inspired to share far and wide with integrity. So I just like to, at the top of these things, I'll introduce myself in a moment. I'm really, really thrilled to be here with you and to share a little bit of my story. But I like to let people know that you're in the right place if you do not need to be a yoga teacher, you don't need to be a yoga practitioner even, but you're just interested in yoga and you want to go deeper, or you care about inequities in the world and you want to change them. You know that you have a voice and you want to share it, and you're ready to take action, but you might not know how. I also like to be very clear that this challenge is not for you if you are here to troll or just like critique, but you aren't down with interrupting white supremacy, inequity, or racism, or you just came to complain rather than act, right? So it's not for you if any of those things are true, and you can kindly leave the challenge. So it's totally normal, though, for folks who are here to feel destabilized, sick at heart, frustrated, hopeless, heart-fallen, or really galvanized. And all of that, you know, whether you're feeling inspired and fired up and ready to act, or you're feeling kind of hopeless and you're looking for some inspiration, you're in the right place. So let's get started. And I will invite the bell and have us take a breath together. So welcome. You can place a hand on your heart if you would like, welcoming yourself into this moment, into this time. It's such an honor to be here with you. It is no small thing, and I'm really, really humble and grateful in your presence and your passion for exploring yoga and social justice. So we will begin. I want to also share some guidelines, and you are welcome to take these guidelines out and use them in your spaces. Part of what I'm hoping that we do here is inspire you to be able to continue to share for the first time, to really lift up your voice, because this is not any one person's movement. This movement for yoga and social change needs all of us. And so we start with embodying yoga ethics as we practice together in this challenge. So Ahimsa, we'll practice Ahimsa, assuming best intent, truly listening to me, to each other, and yourself as fully as possible from the heart. Satya, knowing that truth is multiple and to seek after truth. Tapas, participate fully, take risks, go all in, and lean into growth. Asteya, practice generosity and understand too, like a generosity of spirit, that harm and healing inter-are, and that really what this is about is relationship building and cultivating connection. Aparigraha, letting go, giving yourself and me and everyone else permission to be messy, knowing that we may experience non-closure, that things might not get tied up in a pretty bow. And then finally, brahmacharya, energy care. So taking care of your own energy, getting water, tea. You'll see me pause and take some sips. I have some warm water here. And also the energy management and the energy care of, if you get inspired by anything that I share here, please practice asteya, generosity and care and non-stealing, and also brahmacharya, and share and refer, tag me if you're sharing this work. So let's take a sip of water. It's nice to have water or tea around when we're doing this kind of work to help move energy and keep things flowing. I'm also going to see if I can get the chat working. All right. So I'm going to share just a brief bit of my story with you, because it's so relevant as to why I'm here sharing about yoga and social justice. My whole life prepared me to address these issues because my ancestors are Indian and British. I am an immigrant, and I'm just one generation out from living under Indian colonization by the British. So I'm someone whose life has been deeply impacted by the separation of racism and colonization. And I came into a divided world, a world that didn't want me in it, that told my parents I should not be born, and then tried to erase me through race-based violence as I grew. And so I came into a divided world, and I lived also an internally divided life. Internally, a lot of those messages from outside that I was getting made me feel like I wasn't worthy, like I had no value, that I had nothing to share. And I'm curious for you, if you can take a moment to reflect, have you ever felt this way? Have you ever felt divided or separated or not at home, not belonging? And we'll just take a moment to acknowledge those parts of ourselves. For me, the teachings of yoga, these ancestral teachings, have really been my medicine for personal unity and vehicle for a journey of transformation. I was raised within yogic culture, and it really is what enabled me to reunite myself to myself and then start to make change in the world. And so this is why I feel called to share the power of yoga for personal and social change with you. And I also like to just share, for context, I believe change happens in many ways. And sometimes I work within systems to advocate for change. I write a lot of letters to organizations to invite them or put pressure on them to make change. And I sometimes work with them, not always, consult organizations to try to get them to shift, to bring more equity. And I also work in creating my own systems or structures, things to create change from the outside. And so one of those was the Honor, Don't Appropriate Yoga Summit, which some of you may have explored. And if you end up ever getting my book, which I'll share about in a second, you can get the first season of the summit for free. So I wrote a book that shared this journey. It's called Embrace Yoga's Roots. And I also want to acknowledge that I do not do this alone. I have so many teachers, living and non-living ancestors who I've learned from and who support me: Shankarji, Kabirji, Satish Kumar, Dr. Tara Sethia, Arundhati Roy, Dr. Vandana Shiva, Aisha Mason, Thich Nhat Hanh, Dr. Reverend Lawson, Patrice Cullors, and many, many others. And so I name my ancestors, my living and non-living ancestors, those who have taught me and who are the vessel for which I come to you today and sharing what I will share. I also have an online course, that's the only online course that I teach, called Embrace Yoga's Roots, which is all about bringing these things for yoga teachers who want to bring these into all of what we're going to talk about into their practice and teaching and lives, to support you with that. So my goal for our time together is to explore how yoga is a path of personal and social change and how it really is social justice, and give you 4 steps for how you can embody yoga as a liberation practice. So we'll take a moment and pause. What brought you to yoga, if you do practice or teach? And then also, what is inspiring you to be here right now? So just take a moment, maybe jot down a thought or two. Let me see, I'd really love to see your comments. Let me see if I can get this going. Change is saved. All right. Okay. So the very first thing I want to share about is the connection between yoga and social justice. And here, the connection is right at the beginning of the path of yoga and right at the end, when we look at the Eightfold Path, the very first step of the Eightfold Path is Ahimsa. And I'm going to stop sharing just so I can see you for a moment. The very first step of yogic ethics is Ahimsa, or non-harm. And yoga as a path is guiding each of us into sovereignty in our lives. And so right there, our aim and our goal is to create Ahimsa for ourselves and for everyone else, so every other being can experience Ahimsa and sovereignty. And then the very end of the Eightfold Path, which I'll cover in depth in a moment. I'm not assuming you know all of the Eightfold Path, but the very end is samadhi, or liberation. And so right at the start of the path and right at the end of the path, we come to a clear call for social justice. And sometimes that's been misunderstood in the practice and the teaching of yoga. And there are, of course, many different paths of yoga. What I'm sharing here is just one path. It's a Advaita Vedanta path of practice. There may be other paths. And so it's also important to say, I'm not making any other path wrong as long as it is not causing harm, right? If a path is causing harm, then we interrupt that harm. So we look at Yoga Sutra 2.66, Ashantasya Kuta Sukham. How can there be happiness for the one who is without any peace? For one who never unites the mind with oneness, there is no peace. And how can one who lacks peace be happy? And so this is after Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras has laid out the way that we, the yoga practitioner, commits to a path of service and a path of practice. There's this clear invitation to say part of our duty is to help create peace for others, to help preserve peace for others. And so someone experiencing material conditions of suffering or of trauma or of racism, it is part of our practice to interrupt that and to help support the experience of peace everywhere. So inherently, yoga is a tool for social transformation and change. It cultivates inner power. And really, really clearly, this is not just any one person's movement or any one organization or any one nonprofit. It's not about putting people up on pedestals. It's truly, yoga is for everyone. It's all of us. So it's you. There is no yoga without justice. There is no peace without yoga. No justice, no peace. And that's taking a call from, comments work. Okay, yay. Y'all, just bear with me for a moment because I just have to say, I love teaching, and figuring out now how to see your comments is going to be, that's going to be the next step for me. Okay. Ooh, maybe I can see it here. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, I feel like I just got to connect with you. Okay. Now I get to add, now I get to see where you're here from. Alexandria, New York, if you're from Scotland. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is so beautiful. And when I'm looking away, I'm looking at my other computer that now I can see you on. Oh, this is so, thank you. Thank you for bearing with me. I am learning as I go, and so I just appreciate you. Yes, from Newcastle. Oh, this is the most exciting thing. And so let's reflect on what yoga is, right? And I want to see in the chat if you can tell me, did you know this? Did you know this? So a yes if you knew this, and a no if you didn't, okay? What is yoga really? There have been so many misunderstandings as to what yoga is in the West. And Generally here in the West, we think of yoga as just a physical fitness practice, just something that we do with our bodies, and that has nothing to do with our minds, our hearts, our souls, let alone the community. And so the problem with these misunderstandings is that they dilute yoga to the point where it's barely recognizable at all. But within the tradition are the seeds we need to honor the full expanse of yoga practice. So over here, this is a picture I took at the nonviolent ashram, the Gandhi ashram in Warda. And you can see some of the principles of what a deeper yoga practice is. Truth, nonviolence, brahmacharya, ahimsa, brahmacharya, and on. Really powerful. So I'm curious. Yes, a lot of you knew this. Hi, yay. And question though, then, do your people, your communities know this? That's something for you to think about. Do people around you know this? And so here's one really clear way that we can begin to put this into action, all the knowledge that we have, and put this into practice. So this is searching for yoga's true lineage, right? The true meaning and realization of what it is to be a yoga practitioner, what it is to be committed to this path. Ahimsa, means not, himsa, harm. The first yama or ethical code of yoga is non-harm, and it's often used to mean non-violence. It is actively interrupting harm, violence and oppression, as much as it is about taking care of ourselves. And often there's a misunderstanding that yoga, many don't. So folks who are here, you're in the right place, right? Like with this community, we get this. But the people we're around might not. And they may think of yoga as a purely personal, self-involved, and dare I say selfish, right? Or self-focused only practice. And that is not what yoga is about. That's part of it, but it's not the whole of it. So let's break this down. Yoga, union, joining, unity is the definition. Whatever causes separation within ourselves or with others is not yoga. Whatever leads us towards unity is yoga. And so at its root, yoga is a practical, structured art, scientific framework, and embodiment practice that aims at curing our personal and social ills. It's an organized system. And, I'm not going to go into all of what is in yoga philosophy, but for folks who, I know there's some university students who are going to watch this now or later, for folks who aren't as familiar, a full expansive yoga practice can involve ethics, the yamas, the inner codes, so like inner yogi codes, the niyamas, asana, the physical practice, pranayama, breath work, pratyahara, sensory focus, dharana, mindfulness, dhyana, meditation, and samadhi, liberation, bliss, union, and more. There's a lot more. But knowing that is so key to expanding beyond what we understand yoga to be. And so as we explore the roots of yoga in Ahimsa, the very first place we begin is with ourselves. Okay, we just don't stop there. And so I want to pause for a moment and ask you to reflect. Has there ever been a time in your life when you put yourself last? When was the last time you were truly kind to yourself? So I'd love for you to share in the comments, if you're willing, when was the last time you were truly there for you? Because part of this practice is starting with and caring for your own body, your own heart, releasing tension, loving yourself, recognizing and embracing your suffering, your pain, your sadness, your anger, and not turning away from it or abandoning yourself. This is a path of ahimsa. And it's from this foundation, this understanding, this compassion, that we have space to care, act, support, and help others. Yeah, as a partner and parent. This morning during my practice, forgave myself right now by attending this session. Yes, we are caring for ourselves right now. And I have this candle that I lit for each of you. This candle, when I stare into the flame, to me, this is an act of kindness, an act of love, an act of connecting back to each of our true essences, that spark that's within each of us. So that was my act of self-care and community care right before I came on to share with you. And so I'd like you to explore again with me and remember maybe a first time or any time when, it could be recently, could be a long time ago, when you experienced kindness for no real reason from someone else. So what did it feel like? Imagine, reflect, who was there, what was happening, what did it feel like in your body, in your lungs, in your heart, in your belly? A time when someone was generous or compassionate, forgiving or caring with you when they didn't have to be. How did that feel? And I'll see if anyone shares this in the chat. So please share if you would like to share your experience. I'm reflecting on a hug that I got from my 8-year-old child. That was one where he was saying sorry for something that really, me being the parent, I should have been the responsible one, but it was such a generous gift. My roommates offering to use the pressure cooker, a warm hug. Yeah. So powerful. And now I'd love you to remember, when did you give compassion or kindness to someone? Reflect on this. When have you, could be recently, could be a long time ago, could be something that you did for someone, and how it felt for you to give that gift of ahimsa. Ahimsa as active compassion. Yeah, warm, full heart. So powerful. And if you'd like to share, you're welcome to share a gift of your generous heart in the chat. Yeah, so powerful. Thank you. These are so inspiring. Notice too, if you're reading the comments, how it feels to read all of this. It's really powerful. Now, for so many, ahimsa stops here, but there's more, and we're going to go there. So exploring the roots of yoga as ahimsa, as non-harm. I'm just taking a sip of water. Feel free to do the same. Ahimsa goes beyond the personal, that's the care for ourselves, and the interpersonal, that's all these beautiful examples of love and care you're sharing in the chat and maybe in your own hearts, to the systemic. So where there is systemic injustice, ahimsa is speaking up and interrupting harm. It's acting in a way to disrupt, to call out, and to do what we can to create the conditions for everyone to experience that personal ahimsa and interpersonal ahimsa. And I'll break this down a little more. So we're starting today with how we take this inner commitment, considering what are we working against, and what are you working against? What injustices, what inequities, if you can get specific, and I'll guide us there in a moment. And what are you in solidarity for? Consider systemic issues and imbalances of power. So here's a wheel of power and privilege. This is adopted from ccrweb.ca and was created by Sylvia Duckworth. Really important to credit folks' work when you use it. And so I'm making sure to do that here. That too is a practice of ahimsa. this is a wheel of power. And so power is right at the center. And in layers around are those with, in terms of systemic issues, those with the most access to power, then the next layer, and then the final layer in this circle. There could be many other layers that are the farthest away in terms of structural violence and oppression. And so if I'll take skin color and I'll use myself. I'm not white. I'm different shades. I'm a person of color, but I'm a lighter skinned person of color. And so if I was filling this in for myself, I would put myself somewhere here, right? Closer to power than if I was out here. And what that means, anywhere where we are closer to power, is that's a place where we can have responsibility to interrupt systems of oppression for those who are further away from structural power. Now, does this mean I'm not powerful? Absolutely not. Okay. I, as a person, feel completely empowered, and I don't share this wheel to disempower any of us, regardless of how much we're outside on that wheel. I share this to say that society and systems, so by systems, I mean like economic policies, legal policies, institutions, like governments, education structures. Those are systems that are targeting some of us and privileging others of us. And so by looking at this, I invite you to look and reflect where you can activate your power. Okay, we're wrapping up. I know I'm just a few minutes over, and I apologize because I was setting it up at the beginning. So stay with me if you can. Here's where we get into action. So yoga and social justice, day 1 challenge. Challenge day 1. And a quote here, Dr. Martin Luther King, from his letter from Birmingham jail. There are 4 steps for nonviolent social change. Collect facts to determine what injustice exists, negotiation, which we'll do tomorrow in our challenge with Satya, self-purification, and direct action. Okay, so today we're combining steps 1 and 3. We're collecting facts, we're going to commit and decide what we're taking action on, and we're going to practice some self-purification. So today, with Ahimsa, collect the facts, right? What are you committing to? What are you committing to work towards or to disrupt? And we practice this to harmonize our nervous systems and to take this work of Ahimsa beyond ourselves through action. So if you're willing to join me, I invite you to place a hand on your heart. Call to mind an ancestor. This could be a spiritual ancestor, a movement ancestor, someone who inspires you, a blood ancestor or land ancestor who helps you feel strong and brave. And I'd like you to repeat after me in your mind. I am the beginning. I am the beginning. It is up to me. It is up to me. If not me, who? If not me, who? If not now, when? If not now, when? I am, in your name, from where you are from. And see what comes here. See what pops out. I am working against. I act for, in solidarity with. If not me, who? If not now, when? We are the beginning. It is up to us. And take a deep breath in. Feel this in your body and heart. Settle into every cell. And you can pair this movement with a sun salutation for those who would like to, or a modified sun salutation. And I'll be posting an example of this on my social media just shortly after we close out here. Because today, right here, right now, we recommit to our practice of yoga and social justice. And so here's what I invite you to do. Practice, right? Practice and write your Ahimsa sun salutation, justice flow, poem commitment using that format. Came to you in the email. If you didn't get the email, then check your spam box or make sure you've signed up for the challenge. And share your poem. Please share your practice or your words or both on Instagram or on TikTok, and share it on your own platforms and then tag me. I'm so excited to see what you will do and how you will share. You can also use the hashtag yoga and social justice challenge so we can all like comment on each other's. I'm really excited to see what you take out, what you are committing to be here for and to work against. So day one, you did it. You did it. We explored a lot around Ahimsa, the roots of yoga, and how yoga is a commitment to social justice. We'll close with this quote from the Bhagavad Gita. Do every action you must do, but do not be attached to your action's fruits. This skill in action is yoga. From the Gita, verse 47, 48. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see when I go live tomorrow when we explore Satya and MLK Jr.'s second step of nonviolent social change. Thank you so much. A deep bow to you. Please connect and share on your pages, on your Instagram, your TikTok. If you do TikTok, feel free to duet my yoga social justice flow. I'd be so happy to see us get creative. It's all about being creative, using our voices, using our art and expression for justice. So thank you. And I'm just going to check. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will close now with a chant of Om, sending you peace and power. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.